Okay, I hope everyone can hear me. Let us know in the chat box if you can't hear us or if you can't see me. But my name is Sophia Mondos, and I work for the IFAS Extension Office in Sarasota County, and I'll be doing this Green Living workshop on tips for becoming more sustainable. So this workshop comes at pretty good timing because April is actually Earth Month, and this Earth Day, which is on April 22nd every year, it actually falls on the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and it's pretty unique because a lot of our Earth Day festivals and plans have been postponed or moved to virtual platforms. And so this kind of serves as another way of how you can try to be sustainable from your own home. And I hope it can give you some tips on easy ways that you can live a more sustainable lifestyle, even from home, while we all spend more time at home. Okay, so I'm going to go over what sustainability is, why it matters, and what you can do. And then if you have any questions about anything that I'm talking about during the presentation, there is a Q&A button in the Zoom browser. It'll be either at the very top of your screen or at the very bottom. It'll say Q&A, it has little bubbles, and you can put your question into there, and then we're going to go over all the questions at the end. And then also, if I went over something but you want to go back to it, I'm going to be sending out the PowerPoint slides afterwards as well if you registered through Eventbrite. Okay, so first I'm going to go over what Extension is, of where I work, just briefly as a little bit of a background. So it's a partnership between Sarasota County, the University of Florida, and the USDA. And basically we use university research and resources to address local issues through community initiatives and classes, outreach, and volunteer programs. And we have all of those things through all of the program areas that you see there on the right, including sustainability, which is my program area, under all those 6 core areas. So we have things like 4-H, commercial horticulture, community gardens, sustainable agriculture. We have the Master Gardener volunteer program. We have all sorts of different ways to get involved through all those program areas and classes that you can take to serve the community. And a little bit more background on the sustainability programs. We have programs in resiliency planning, sustainable transportation, energy and water efficiency, like our energy upgrade program. We also have an annual Sustainable Communities Workshop, which this year will be the 15th annual workshop. And it's usually in October or November, so stay tuned for that once we post more details about that. And then we also have a different variety of sustainability classes and events and outreach that we do, like this Green Living class and solar classes, electric vehicles. We have a large variety of different topics that you can learn about. And then we also have waste reduction programs. And so just as more of a background, Sarasota County specifically, we define sustainability as satisfying our present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. And so basically that's a balancing act between the 3 pillars of sustainability, which are on the right in the Venn diagram bubbles of economic, social, and environmental sustainability. And true sustainable decision-making and actions involve satisfying all 3 of those pillars of sustainability in your thought process. So it's that sweet spot in the middle of that diagram. And so green living means a variety of different things, and it can mean any of the things that are there on the screen, like just reducing your energy and water use and waste, and meanwhile, at the same time, while improving and bettering the water and air quality and environment quality. It can mean a lot of different things, and it doesn't have to be all of these things, but it kind of just overall means doing things that make yourself and your community a better place to live for future generations, one that's more self-sufficient and resilient and healthy. So basically any actions that you do that fall into that category fall under green living and sustainable living. And so why does it matter? Why do we care about this? Well, why not? Because it makes economic sense. A lot of the tips that I'm going to talk about can save you money. And a lot of our resources that we use and things that we have are infinite. So if we run out of them, that's all we have. So it's better to live more sustainably so that we're not so wasteful. And a lot of the actions that we do today, doesn't matter where, in our home or at work or while we're out shopping, have an impact on not only us, but our community and our environment. And those impacts can last for years or forever, depending on what it is. So it's better to just minimize our impact as best as we can. And so now I'm gonna go over different things that you can do personally. And I kind of have them broken up between categories of things that you can be more sustainable in food and waste and categories like that. And so they're a pretty brief overview of just tips to get you started. So you might already do some of these, which is great. And then I hope that there's some on here that inspire you to do every day on your own as well. So let's get started with the natural environment. A great thing that you can do is enjoy it and get outside. But in our current situation, we can't always go where we want to go to protect others and ourselves. But when we are allowed to not be physically distant from one another, you can take advantage of the beautiful and amazing parks that we have in Sarasota County. But while we don't, you can still walk and bike if you have one, just around your neighborhood or around your apartment or wherever that you have access to the outdoors. I personally go on a walk every day. Otherwise, I go crazy just sitting inside all day. And wherever you go, try to leave it better than where you left it, than how you found it. So leave no trace. And practice Florida-friendly landscaping if you have a garden or a landscape at home, which basically means planting Florida-friendly plants so that you don't waste water and planting the right plants in the right place. And we have classes that go all into detail of how to do Florida-friendly landscaping and that sort of thing. We can plant trees and protect our wildlife and natural land and water quality through the different actions that you do. And also, it's important to just be an advocate as well for the natural environment and tell your friends and tell others, protect the environment, and just get others on board with what you already do yourself or want to do. And so at the end of every little section, we have little quizzes. I know we can't get fully involved like we normally do in a class. In a normal class, we like to do these and let you all answer, and then I like to give out prizes. But since we can't do that, I'll let you all kind of answer to yourselves, or if you're watching with some, you can talk about it with them. I'll give you a few moments and then I'll give you the answer. And hopefully that'll be as interactive enough for you all. So the first one is which does not help preserve our local water quality? Don't flush unwanted or expired medicine, pick up after your pets, pave your property, the less natural ground the better, or avoid pesticides and chemical fertilizers. Give you a few moments. So for this one, paving your property to have as little natural ground as possible does not help preserve our local water quality, because the more pavement you have, the more water runoff you have, and the more water gets run off into our stormwater system instead of naturally filtering through the ground that you have on your property. Okay, so moving on to water. This pie chart kind of shows where water is being used in your home. And this one is specifically for if you have a yard, but if you don't have a yard, you can kind of use the rest of the pie chart to kind of see how it is used indoors for yourself. And so this is important, I feel, to go over because it shows where we use the most, and so where the most impact can be done if we make improvements for our water usage at home. So outdoor uses the most, followed by toilets, and then appliance things like washers and faucets and showers. But then also, if you'll notice at the bottom right, leaks use a big portion of our water usage, which is an easy fix and an easy way to just cut out that big chunk and reduce that water usage, especially at a time when we don't get as much rain. It's important to conserve our water as much as we can. And so what can you do for water? Here is a list. Like I said, leaks are super big, so it's super important to try to minimize leaks, especially in your toilets. It might be leaking and you might not even know it. So there's ways that you can find that out. You can take shorter showers, turn off the water while brushing your teeth, use WaterSense products. That's a certified product where you know that if you're using WaterSense products, they're more water efficient, so you're not wasting quite as much. You can replace your toilet for a dual flush one or a more efficient one, or you can also just install water displacement bags into the tank so that you use less when you flush. You can also try to just water more efficiently outdoors and then also, like I said before, do Florida-friendly landscaping. We also have rain barrel classes, so you can take a class and get a rain barrel once we have those in person again. But you learn about rain barrels and irrigating your garden that way to save water. And to also save water while gardening, you can use a garden hose so that you're not just using an open hose that's flowing water the whole entire time. And you can get an irrigation audit from our extension office also. They can help you figure out ways to reduce your water irrigation usage. Or you can join a NEST program with your neighborhood to promote water and land conservation. So that's just a few options. I'm sure there are plenty of other ways, but hopefully those are some that can get you started. And so our water question is, how much water does the average leaky toilet waste per day? 1 gallon, 10 gallons, 50 gallons, or 200 gallons? So the average leaky toilet can waste up to 200 gallons a day, which is a lot. Over a month, that's about 6,000 gallons, which can be about $100 on your utility bill. So another reason why it's super duper important to try to fix those leaks in your toilet, which is a really easy fix and a really easy way to reduce your water consumption and even save you money on your utility bills. Okay, so for the economy, like I said before, again, once we can do more in-person things, when you're traveling, just try to be more of a sustainable tourist. Go on tourist adventures that with sustainable companies, or go to restaurants that have sustainability practices and initiatives. You can encourage sustainable agricultural practices and support local food production. Be a smart consumer and buy products that are sustainably produced, and support green businesses, and also including Sarasota County Green Business Partners. If you want to know more about that, you can go on our website. And if you are a local business in Sarasota County, you could consider applying to become a Sarasota County Green Business Partner. You can build green and use solar and support green jobs in our community. And so for this question, we have, which energy sector employs the greatest number of people in the US? We have coal, oil, gas, energy efficiency, and renewable energy. Give you all a second to think about that. Okay, so this one is energy efficiency. It employs 2.25 million people in the US, which is more than coal, oil, gas, electricity, and renewable energy industries combined, which is a lot. Okay, and then moving on to energy. So big question, where is energy being used in our Florida homes the most? Mine is currently being used. It's your air conditioning. It uses the most. It's probably not hard to guess. And after that, it's heating and water heating. And then the rest are kind of different things you plug in, like plug loads, appliances and TVs and electronics, that sort of thing. And so, like I said, with water, it's good to know where your energy is being used, so then you can focus on those areas when you're trying to cut down on your energy consumption in your home. For example, when you're cooling your home, these are the areas that cause heat for your air conditioning to have to cool down later. Appliances from the attic, from outside, from the sun, and from the air. And it's also relevant to think about where your energy source is. So in Florida, it's mostly natural gas. So that's also a good reason to try to cut down on your consumption, because the majority of our energy that we're using is non-renewable. So the more energy you cut down on your usage, the less fossil fuels you're having to use. And you also save money. So that's also a bonus. But there are lots of things you can do. So this is a very short list of our energy things, but just briefly, you can build green. And like I said, since AC is a big one, you can invest, if you can, into a high performance cooling system, and also efficient anything that you can get. Water heaters, appliances, lighting, home electronics, and office equipment, and look for that Energy Star logo anytime you're buying new things like that, so that you know you're buying the most efficient product. Invest in and support alternative energy like solar. And if you're interested in solar, you can also, we have a solar class, and we have one coming up at the end of April, so you can tune into that also online if you're interested in learning more about solar in Florida. You can get an energy audit, which lets you know where your energy losses are and where you can make improvements. More specifically about your home, you can get an auditor to come out and do a whole assessment for your home, and they'll evaluate it and give you a bunch of very specific tips for you that can save you money. Like I said, those plug loads are also a big thing. So a lot of things that are plugged in are using a lot of electricity when they're actually not in use, because they're still using electricity while they're plugged in, like your charger, your TVs, or anything with like little red LED lights, coffee makers, microwaves, they're all using electricity while they're just sitting there being unused. So a good way to manage that is to unplug it when you're not using it, or you can use a smart power strip, which will turn off the appliance if you turn off one of the appliances that's near on the smart power strip. You can also take one of our energy upgrade classes, which goes into a lot more detail of a lot of different things that you can do at home to save on energy. It's about an hour long, and you get a kit that has a bunch of things in the kit that can help get you started, like LED light bulbs and things to seal up your home. And for more tips on energy saving, you can go to our sustainability website. There's a lot of tips on there that are no, low, medium, and high cost that can get you started on anything that you want to do to try to save on energy at home. Okay, and so for energy, how much do you all think that the average Sarasota County household spent on electricity in 2017? $1,800, $1,200, $1,000, or $800? Okay, so the answer for this one is $1,200. So there are definitely ways that I even can reduce my energy bills and energy consumption at home, and there's a lot of easy ways to do it. So I hope that some of those can help get you started. Okay, so the built environment, when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about our indoor environment space. So typically, when we're not all being asked to stay at home and physically distance ourselves to begin with, Americans spend about 90% of their time indoors. And so it's super important to consider your home health. So the things that are in the environment, like the lighting and the sound and the air quality and the thermal conditions, because all of those things that encompass home health affect your health too. And since you spend most of your time indoors, it's super important to know that, make sure our buildings are a healthy place so that we know that we're being healthy by just being inside. So lighting and sound, you can do different, there's a lot of research on different lighting and sound choices that you can make in your home that are better for your health and for your productivity and well-being, because a lot of us are working from home now, so those things can have an effect. And then also air quality, so volatile organic compounds, you want to try to reduce those in your home. And those are things that vaporize when they're at room temperature, like things you spray in the air, or things that kind of like coatings, they have a really strong smell. A lot of them have like formaldehyde in them. You know, there's just things like that that you don't really want in your air. You can try to minimize those as much as you can. Try to use green cleaning products when you can. Change out your air filters, and then try to have gases in your home properly ventilated. So gases from vehicles and different combustions aren't coming into your home where you breathe the air. And then make sure your thermal conditions are good. So be aware of conditions that can cause mold, warm and wet, because mold is also not good for your health. And so here is, instead of a quiz, I have a homemade green cleaning product recipe that you can try at home if you want. Also, we have a green cleaning your home webinar coming up at the end of the month too, that you can register for over Zoom as well on our Eventbrite page. Okay, so next is transportation. A lot of us are not moving around as much right now, but when you do, and when we can again, you can try to use public transit as much as you can, especially if you live near a bus stop. Try to utilize it, even if you have a car, especially if you're just commuting by yourself or going just a mile down the road or something. Try to use a bus if you can. Purchase an electric vehicle or a hybrid. Carpool, walk, ride your bike. And then you can also, there are different ways that you can try to adjust your driving habits and maintain your car in a certain way for fuel savings and to reduce pollution. And then we also have an electric vehicle class if you're interested in learning more about electric and hybrid vehicles in Sarasota County. We have one of those coming up at the end of June, which you can also sign up for that and learn more about on our Eventbrite page. Okay, so for transportation, about how far do you all think is the average American's daily round trip commute? 5 miles, 10 miles, 30 miles, or 40 miles? So the average commute for the American is 30 miles, which, good news, many electric vehicles now have a charge of over 70 miles. So if a barrier for you to getting a more efficient, fuel-efficient car like an electric vehicle was that you were anxious about your daily commute being too long for the range, or having anxiety about the range in general, a lot of the ranges have increased lately, and it's a lot easier to own one and not be anxious. And there's a lot more charging stations in our community now as well. Okay, so food, what can you do? You can buy fresh, local, seasonal food, shop at farmers markets. Doing that will reduce food miles, limit your food waste, save you money, and reduce greenhouse gas. You can also try to grow your own food, whether that's in your backyard, on your porch, or even in your windowsill. Or you can try to join a community garden when we can have access again. And you can compost your food scraps. That reduces waste, and it also creates something that's useful out of your food waste, which is natural fertilizer. You can do that at home, or you can look into community composting. And then we also have a composting class at our extension office, and we have several of those coming up. Those are pretty frequent and pretty popular. So you can sign up for one of those if you want to learn about composting, and anything that you would want to know about composting, you'll learn in that class. And so here are some of the local Sarasota County farmers markets, if you were wondering when we can go to farmers markets again. So for food, about how much food of the food supply is wasted in the US, do you guys think? 0 to 10%, 10 to 20%, 30 to 40, or 60 to 70% of our food supply is wasted? So in the US, food waste is estimated between 30 to 40% of the food supply. So 30 to 40% of the food that we make is wasted on estimated, which is a great deal. So composting is a great way to try to, if you do have food waste, to at least try to utilize it and make it something useful for either you or someone else. You could also just try to, when you go shopping, only buy what you need. Don't overbuy so that things don't go bad in your fridge. So moving on to other types of waste besides food waste, We've all heard of reduce, reuse, recycle, I hope. But another big part of those R's is refuse, that we like to also say, because if you refuse whatever the item is in the first place and don't get it or don't accept it, then you don't have to worry about what its end use is going to be and where it's going to end up. You don't have to worry about throwing it out or reusing it or recycling it. You just don't take it in the first place. So try to just minimize what you take or buy, especially if you don't necessarily need it. Doing all that will save you money, and it'll reduce the pollution and greenhouse gases that are created from creating those materials, and then also then disposing of those materials once they end up in the landfill or at the recycling plant. So when you are shopping, a lot of your waste choices comes from your personal choices. So when you're shopping, you want to look for recycled things that are made from recycled content, or things that are durable. So if it breaks, you can just repair it, and then try to take the extra mile to repair something rather than disposing of it. And then make sure the things that you buy are recyclable, and or they could just be repurposed. And then make sure when you're shopping to say no to things that are single-use disposables, styrofoam, or plastic items that are also single-use, like bags and utensils, and things like that. And try to find things with limited packaging, no packaging, or packaging that is recyclable if you do buy something with packaging. So more just fun random things to try to reduce your waste. Try to repurpose your items instead of throwing them out. Try to use less paper in your everyday life. Donate your items or buy a second hand. Buy your products in bulk. You can regrow your vegetables with food scraps. That's another food waste one. You can purchase, like I said before, the reusable products that can replace the single-use disposable ones. And that's a small list of things that are pretty easy to start with. If you don't already do those, then you could just start with one and see how it goes and try another one. Like napkins or paper towels. That one I thought would be really hard to get rid of, but I stopped buying those kind of on accident maybe a couple of years ago, and then now it's super easy and we're super comfortable living without paper towels. So it's just trying it out. If it's not for you, just see what can work best for you and your family. And so here, since I mentioned repurposing, here are some fun, easy repurposing things you can do at home. You can take cardboard boxes and make them into organizers. You can make bird feeders from plastic bottles. You can wrap gifts for birthdays or anything else with old magazines and newspapers. And you could try old toothbrushes for household cleaning and t-shirts for that too. And then Pinterest has a lot of ideas on fun crafts that you can do with things around your home, with kids or on your own, to kind of repurpose things around your house, and it's fun. And then once we can be more involved in crowds and in our community, there's a lot of different ways that you can get involved to try to reduce the waste in our community through any of these programs as well. And then so with waste, I also wanted to mention recycling, since we've just had a lot of changes with that in Sarasota County in the past year. So on the left, there's items to recycle in my graphic, which I'm sure you all know. And then just as a reminder, you should leave out batteries and styrofoam, plastic wrap, and different other films, plastic films, wires, and other things that can get tangled, like hoses, clothes hangers, foods and liquids, yard waste, and small electronics too. You definitely want to leave out of your recycling bin. And so here's a small little quiz for recycling, is which of these are not recyclable? We have a picture of a pizza box, a milk jug, a battery, and a soda can. So I'll let you all answer to yourselves. So out of these items, you should not put the pizza box or the battery in your recycling bin. You shouldn't put the pizza box in there because it has all the oil stains and all that from the pizza. Because you can recycle cardboard, but not pizza boxes. Okay. And then finally, with how health and social equity. What can you do? You can maintain a healthy and active lifestyle as best as you can. Remaining healthy increases your quality of life and also saves money for you and the community spent on healthcare. And you can carpool, bike, and use public transportation, like I mentioned before. But that also helps with your personal health as well, not just the environmental health. And then there's also a lot of different personal care product choices that you can make for more healthy ones. And especially now, there's a lot more healthy choices out there. So just do your research and figure out what kind of products that you wouldn't mind trying out new things for more healthy ones. Those things include like deodorants or sunscreens, anything that you put on your body. And then you can participate in programs in our community that promote social equity by volunteering in them or donating to them. And then also vote for health and social equity for yourself and for your community to be healthier and just a better place to live with your vote. And so living a healthy and sustainable lifestyle basically is all about your personal choices. Like I mentioned, all those categories, all of them for the most part rely on you making your own personal choices and taking your own steps in all those different categories as best as you can on your own. So this is kind of just a summary of everything that we talked about. We have like the energy and water efficiency choices, transportation, waste, landscaping, when you're shopping, the green businesses that you shop at, your food, where you shop, how you get it, if you make it, what you do with it when you're done with it, how you're involved in the community, and how you're staying healthy yourself and when you're outdoors. Everything is about your personal choices. And there's a lot of choices you can make, and it can be overwhelming, and there's a lot of different ways. And it doesn't mean to live green, you don't have to do all those choices, but it's about just being mindful and conscious of the option of making a more sustainable choice, and then just doing one step at a time, doing what you can. Even if it's just one thing out of one category, just go one step at a time, whatever makes you comfortable, and just do your best with trying to do better and live a healthier and more sustainable lifestyle, because it will help you and future generations in our communities. And so another thing you can do while we're all at home is think about how your choices, because like I said, we make all these choices and they have an impact on ourselves and our community, but you can think about and measure what your impact kind of is. So you can do that by calculating your carbon footprint, which a carbon footprint measures the total amount of greenhouse gases that are generated by your individual actions. And so the carbon footprint on average for an American is about 16 tons, which is one of the highest in the world. Globally, the average is closer to 4 tons. So by going to that website at the bottom, or you can Google carbon footprint calculator and it'll probably come up. You can calculate what your personal carbon footprint is and figure out what your impact is on the environment. And you can, if you want, set some goals and try to reduce it on your own. It's probably a little bit different now that we spend a lot more time at home and less time commuting. So you could do one for how it is when you've been at home lately, or you can do one for how you live regularly and just kind of see and compare, which is pretty interesting to do, I think. And so lastly, a big and important thing that you can do is just get involved with your community, because you can do all those things at home on your own. But then also, once we can have more in-person interactions, there's a lot of different ways that you can get involved in our community to be a better environmental steward and live more sustainably. We have a lot of different events, like I said, that we do through sustainability at the Extension Office or in all the other programs at the Extension Office and just in our community. So attend an event that supports a good cause like that. For sustainability, we have the Energy Upgrade Volunteer Program, which you can learn about more if you go to our website. But we have a training for that this coming September. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I can sign you up to get a notice of when we get all the details sorted out for that. You can request a speaker like myself or anyone else at our office to come to your group or club and speak about all the different types of topics that we have at the Extension office. You can check out a family green living kit from our local Sarasota County library. Once those are available, those are backpacks. They're full of different activities that you can do with your household, kids and yourself. And like I said, we have all the classes you can take, and you can volunteer with us with sustainability or any other program at Extension. But meanwhile, we are all at home currently, I think, and we are asked to stay at home. And that doesn't stop us from being able to be sustainable and help the earth this Earth Month and every month. So I have a few other ways you can get involved. There's lots of different ways, actually, that you can get involved in our community for sustainable living. So like this webinar, we have all those other webinars that are sustainability related topics that are coming up in April. And those are just the ones in April. We have more classes in May and every month. So if you want to see the full list of classes, you can go to our sustainability. You can go to that link to our Eventbrite, like I mentioned before. And like you can see, there's another one this week. There's so many this month, especially because it's Earth Month and it's the 50th anniversary. So one of the things that came out of the 50th anniversary of Earth Day is you can see that some of these have Earth Day 50 at the beginning of them. Those are special webinar series that are in celebration of Earth Day's 50th anniversary. That's this year. And so we have 3 of those this month just because it's Earth Month. But you can look out for the Earth Day 50 webinars. There will be one every month for the rest of 2020. Like I said, just to celebrate Earth Day's 50th anniversary. And those always have a sustainability topic as well. So those are pretty cool. And if you missed a webinar, you can visit our YouTube channel for the Extension office. Most of them are recorded, and if they are, they're put up on that YouTube channel. Yeah. And then, like the green living tips in this webinar, there's going to be more coming out in other blogs and social media that we're going to be posting here soon. So if you want to go to our blogs, you can see them there on our blogs website. You can visit our website and find them that way. You can join our email list. We have one for sustainability. I just sent one out today. It's quarterly, so it only goes out to you 4 times a year. And then you can stay connected with us on our Facebook and Twitter social media accounts. We are very interactive on all of our digital platforms right now, just because we want to stay engaged with our community while everyone is spending more time at home. And so that is it. Thank you, everybody. Like I said, my name is Sophia. I work at the Extension office. That's my email. If you have any questions for us, please feel free to reach out. You can evaluate our webinar on that link right there if you want. And that is our sustainability website. So now I will open it up to answer some questions with the help of Lee Hayes on the call. So yeah. If you have any questions, like I said before, put them in that Q&A button at the top of your screen or at the bottom of your screen. There should be a little button that says Q&A. You can put it in there.
Thanks, Sophia. That was great. This is the, I don't show any questions in the Q&A section yet, but if you have any, please go ahead and put them in there. I did have a couple of good interactions from people answering the questions, so thank you for doing that as we were going along. If anyone has questions or comments, go ahead and share them in the Q&A. There was a question of what was the recipe. Sophia, would you mind going back to the green cleaning recipe so that we can show that again?
Yeah.
And while she's doing that, just a reminder that she's going to email the slides to everyone who participated. So you'll get this as well in your email box tomorrow.
Yep. There's a recipe, and then we have a whole webinar on green cleaning at home that is taught by Maria, who works at our office.
And then the next question is, do all extension offices have a sustainability section? And Sophia, if you don't mind, I'll answer that one just because I'm connected to a lot of our colleagues across the state. And the answer is no. We're really fortunate here in Sarasota County to have a strong sustainability program. The program was started in 2002 by the County Commission, and it was not originally in the Extension Office, but has since moved into our partnership with University of Florida, and it's a really good one. It allows us to focus on education and bring the science of the university to our community in this unique topic area. There are a few other counties across Florida whose extension offices do sustainability work, but ours is the one that has the most staff and the greatest focus. Are there any other questions? Okay. Sophia, do you want to close us out?
Sure. I'll just put it back on the last page in case anyone needs information. Okay, so like I said, there's my information, and I really appreciate everyone joining me and Lee Hayes today on our webinar. Thank you so much, and I'm really glad it worked out and you all were able to join us over Zoom, and I hope everyone is staying healthy and safe while they're physically distancing at home. I really appreciate you all. Thank you.